Hello and welcome to Courageous Doctors, the new show for you and your doctor. On the show today, we're going to cover Obamacare updates, general healthcare news, and health and safety tips. Now let's begin. According to the Star Ledger, Governor Murphy is going to take over the federal exchanges that were always run by the government, but he's afraid now with Trump cutting down on Obamacare, he doesn't want to lose the protections with pre-existing conditions and children staying on the health care up to 26 and all the things that we have with preventive health care. So he's going to use a certain kind of tax, somehow tied in with the federal tax. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's going to take a couple of years, and he's going to take care of the somewhat 275,000 or so New Jerseyans that we have on the exchanges now. So good luck to Governor Murphy. I hope he can do it. The New York Times, we've had some interesting judgments that have come up. As you know, we had mentioned on the last show that the judge in Texas had struck down Obamacare in terms of the fact that it is now no longer, Congress no longer had the tax on Obamacare, which was holding the Obamacare together, and so that still has to be tested in the Supreme Court. But Trump's still having trouble with the judges on other ends. For example, the judge struck down Trump's attempt to let small businesses get together in order to make insurance networks. To be honest with you, I don't understand why the judge would be against this. I mean, whether you're for Obamacare or whether you're for Trump care, however you want to look at it, what's the harm in businesses associating with each other? So I really don't see it, but it's struck down. The Washington Post said that Trump is continuing to cut back funds all over public health, his budget, Medicare, Medicaid, NIH, everything, and Congress is trying to push back some of that. I've been listening to the C-SPAN debates on that, and Congress is trying to give some of the money back, like to the military and all. But what wants to happen is Health Human Secretary Azar, he wants to go back to the way it used to be with block grants. So Trump will give money to New Jersey. New Jersey will decide on a block where all that money is spent on Medicaid. And, you know, we've talked about that in the past. It has pros and cons. The cons are you have no wiggle room. This is the money you have, and if the state doesn't want to spend it, you're screwed, you know. And the positive side is you can save money, and maybe the state knows actually better how to spend it than the federal government. So there's pros and cons, and we'll just have to see what happens. The Star Ledger also said that Governor Murphy has signed a bill for the end-of-life bill, I believe it's called. Basically, what happens is doctors can prescribe medicine to a patient to let them take their own life, and that's now legal. I can tell you that we as physicians, even though I'm a pediatrician, I'm never going to prescribe something like that. You know, that's for geriatrics medicine or people in cancer and all. But, you know, or even people that would even be near people that want to do it. But even so, tied into my license, I have to take a course next month on how to give medicine to let people take their own life and everything that goes with it. It's something I'm never going to do, but so this is the real thing, and it's here, and I guess we'll see what happens. I have to take the course, but I'm never going to do it. But I can see why people needed this law and where it has merit. It just doesn't pertain to me. This is interesting. Star Ledger says that Governor Murphy is increasing the Family Paid Leave Act. That's already law now. It's now 3 months instead of 6 weeks. It goes to 85% of your base pay, which was done over the year. You have to be working for a company that has at least 30 employees. Then you have job security. It covers not only your wife or your son, it covers anybody in your immediate family that you have to take care of. So that was a really good thing. PBS News, the PBS News shout says that New York is making laws to clean up some bad chemicals in the water, dioxin. Dioxin, we've talked about this before. It's like It's like Jersey's attempt now to limit the polyfluoroalkyls. These are chemicals that are used, that make things non-sticky, like your pans you cook in, water repellents, paint strippers, detergent soaps. All stuff that's really important. You just don't want to drink it. Bergen County is investing in replacing its lead pipes. That's going to take years, but there's a lot of lead pipes. We don't think the lead per se is coming necessarily from, it's coming from these lead pipes, but not because of the lead pipes. We think, we've mentioned this on previous news shows, that there's something in the water plant itself, the water storage plant or the water decontamination plant, that allows the water, when it hits the lead pipe, to get the lead out of it. But basically, if you just replace the pipes, you're being safe. Washington Post says that Scott Gottlieb, our FDA commissioner, is now stepping down. I think he personally did a good job. We followed him on many news shows here. He's certainly done a lot with e-cigarettes and work on trying to get more generic drugs out and get drugs out faster. And, we really need drugs out faster because we have to compete with, we have drug shortages, we have things that happen. We need more generic competition. We need to get the price of drugs down. So I think he's done overall a pretty good job at that. The Hill says that the senators are urging for a generic insulin, and I believe today that's finally come through, and I've been seeing that you can get coupons and you can get generic competition for insulin. It's just a shame. I don't know if any of you know diabetics. I certainly see them in my practice, and my heart goes out to them when they can't get their insulin, and it's life-threatening, and there's no excuse in America to not be able to have insulin and save your life. It's no excuse. There are other things that the FDA worked on. We're getting drug discounts from United Healthcare. The FDA did say to avoid the drugs made in Canada temporarily. Canada had some trouble and was misbranding its drugs. I really don't know what that's about. The FDA has approved a vaccine for dengue fever, but for some reason you have to be in a dengue fever country and you have to have either had dengue fever or be a child. It's not clear why they did that. The FDA has put out new guidelines on mammograms. This is very interesting for women with dense breast tissue, where you may miss the tumor. They have to let you know that they may miss the tumor when they're doing that now. Okay, Star Ledger. This was really something that is dear to my heart. I have a lot of patients in foster care, and I deal very closely as a doctor of these kids. And I was really glad to see that they're trying very hard to make improvements in the foster care programs. Only 1 out of 2, only half of these kids will graduate high school, and maybe 1 out of 10 will find a housing as an adult. They're really dependent. They don't have good skill training, so they're working hard to not only get these kids adopted, but to get them more life skill training, and I was glad to hear that. The New York Times said that there's another buyout. This is a Medicaid insurance company. I have patients on WellCare. Centene is now buying out WellCare, another Medicaid merger. And Trinitas Hospital is thinking about merging with Barnabas, that's here in Jersey. And lastly, the Star Ledger said that colleges and county prosecutors are working together to try to make it easier for people that have been sexually abused or violently attacked on campus to get through the program and of reporting and counseling and all the legal stuff. And they're trying to work together on that.
Waxed-In is a full-body unisex studio. We specialize in hard wax, which is gentler on the skin. We do all types of waxing from head to toe. You can come in with your friends, so you have the moral support, We have hors d'oeuvres. You do have to have a minimum of 8 people for that party, and you would schedule that. Everybody's looking for a hand to hold and then someone to share the experience with, so you can look that up on our website. We have prenatal waxing. We take a little bit more time with the new moms, and a lot of people will schedule that once they hit their second trimester. We do have a waxing membership. It's set up just like a gym membership, and you come in just like you would go to the gym. It comes out automatically, and you just show up for your wax. We have several memberships for different services. We also have wax packages. The phone number is 973-542-8442. The website is www.thewaxden.com. We have 24-hour online booking.
Come to the Wax Den. We wax it all.
Hi, I'm Ingrid Burke.
And I'm Gina Unger.
Gina has known Dr. Berry in a professional and personal capacity for many years, and we are thrilled to be in his building. We are psychotherapists, and we offer mental health counseling for ages 12 and up. We do individual, couples, and family counseling. We're also excited to say that we have groups that we have for teenage boys and girls, for social skills, anger management, and self-esteem building. If you need to reach us,
check us out at lifeworksnj.com.
Our phone numbers are also listed on that website if you'd like to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to other healthcare news. Now, let's go to recalls first. There's quite a few of them. I'll just go down the list. CNN reports that salmonella is still found in turkey in 41 states. So the turkey you're eating may or may not be safe. So try to stay tuned to that and make sure it hasn't been recalled. The Star Ledger says that we import pork from China. These Chinese pork that's coming in has been stopped at importation at the shipping docks because it has a flu called African swine fever, and some of the pork was tried to be snuck in through noodle bowls and detergent cans, but they said that they thought they caught most of it. So the pork from China, please be careful now. CNN says that there's salmonella in ground beef from the JBS Tolleson company. It's sold in Kroger's. It's sold as Kroger's as Laura Lean, and it's JBS generic, and it's EST number. So this is salmonella ground beef. The EST, salmonella in ground beef, the EST number is NO267. So if you have any of these JBS generic or any of these Laura Leans and you see the number NO267, it's poison, don't eat it. CBS said that rubber was found in chicken parts, and the chicken was from Pilgrim Pride popcorn-style chicken. It's also seen in Tyson's chicken nuggets and in Purdue chicken. So if your chicken tasted rubbery, it may actually be rubber. CBS said that Brucella was found in raw milk in Biodiversity Farm in Pennsylvania. I think we reported this last month. It sent out to 19 states. I think it's sold online. So be careful with this Brucella. Brucella is a bad germ. Be careful with raw milk in Biodiversity Farm. CBS says there's listeria in Henry's avocados. Henry's avocados are infected. Daily Mail said there's salmonella in the Southern Highland organic eggs. I think that's over in Wales. I've never heard of that over here. Southern Highland organic eggs. CBS says there's Pseudomonas, that's a germ, in water bottles from McDaniel Age Line. I believe they were all pulled. That's called All Lifeline Water. It's sold online. It's contaminated with this very bad germ, and it's water bottles from McDaniel's Age Line. So throw them out if you have them. Hunt's tomato paste has mold in it, so be careful. And CBS says that there's salmonella in your pet food, in your raw pet food with turkey. And they meant there's a lot of them, but the three that I wrote down were Darwin's Natural Pet Products, Raws for Paws, and Woody Pet Food Deli has salmonella. So your dog's going to get pretty sick. Let's move on. Department of Health says we have more measles in New Jersey, mostly Ocean County. Every day there's a report of more. And there was an exposure at Newark Liberty Airport on March 4th at Terminal C, a plane bound for California. We're probably just out of the range that if you would have caught it, you would have got it by now. Department of Health said in February, Rutgers saw another 2 cases of meningitis B. So if you have students at the Rutgers campus, get them vaccinated. Star Ledger says that Jersey had recently seen another death from flu, our 4th this year. Unfortunately, we usually get about 6 or 7 children dying of flu in Jersey every year. And in the country, they had 41 children die. And 19,000 adults died this year of the flu. Bad stuff. Yeah, the H3N2 strain was not in the vaccine, and it's a pretty strong strain. Let's see what else we have. Okay, Forbes says there's rubella in Detroit. Remember rubella when we were kids? German measles. It's back in Detroit. Mumps is in Temple University. That's NBC, mumps outbreak. Polio-like cases are still being seen, according to CBS. That's what we call acute flaccid paralysis. It's actually a kind of, polio is what we call an enterovirus from the intestines. And there's several kinds. Our common enteroviruses we see every summer is Coxsackie and enterovirus, Echo and Coxsackie virus. And the polio is similar to it. Although we've been lucky all these years, but recently in the past few years, the Coxsackie, the enterovirus 68, which it has been acting like a polio. It's not too many cases, but it is increasing. So we'll probably need a vaccine one day for that. NBC says that a baby that never got tetanus shots, I believe a young child, caught tetanus. Was a big news write-up. It was horrible. He survived, but it was very bad. New York Times, this is bad. There's a resistant yeast called Candida auris. It doesn't respond to any medicine. Like any other mold, it can stick to water pipes if you're in a hospital room. It can stick to the fountains, the curtains, everything. It's really very, very scary. It's a resistant type of yeast, and it's a killer, and it's in Jersey and New York, and that's not too good. Ebola is still in the Congo. Typhus is in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles City Hall. You know, who would have thought the homeless? We used to think it was just in the homeless in L.A. Typhus is a kind of flu, and you get it from rat fleas and things. I guess they had mice in City Hall in L.A., and now they have typhus. Okay, Reuters. This is interesting. Almost done with this section. Reuters, the JAMA section on pediatrics. That's the American Medical Association. Says that 1 out of 6 children have mental illness. That's a huge number, and only half of those are treated. No wonder why we have a lot of problems in this country. You know, we got to do better at mental health. I don't know. There's only so much yoga and running can do. We got to learn to talk to each other and get help. And lastly, Sky News, England develops a new blood test for endometriosis, and that's a bad one, so I'm glad we have a test. It sometimes takes years to pick up, and women have painful menstrual periods and other problems, and it's a good thing to treat. Let's move on now to health and safety tips, the last part of our news show. The USA Today is still recalling infant ibuprofen. It was packaged wrong with the wrong concentrations. Let's see. Business Insider said that, this is very interesting, food's more likely to be poison. We're coming into the summer months. It's always good to think of. Untreated oysters. Yeah, so like who's going to pick an oyster out of the water and eat it? I don't know, but some people do. Raw cookie dough. I guess you taste it before you cook it. Raw sprouts. Well, that's part of a salad, but sprouts have germs. They should be, if they're raw, they maybe just saute them or something. I don't know. raw eggs, raw milk, raw meat, raw juice. Okay, I mean it's a good tip. Fox News says to go along with this, avoid buffets. So all these parties, we're always doing buffets. Buffets are dirty. That's what they say. Avoid sliced lemons at your bar because somebody sliced them and may have been a dirty knife. Avoid raw sprouts. Avoid bulk bends that have things. They said avoid sushi. Everybody eats sushi. Avoid packaged lunch meats. I guess it's better to make it yourself, and avoid potlucks. Okay, I thought it was an interesting tip. Take it for what it's worth. Star Ledger says that 2.5% of children in New Jersey have lead levels over 5. That's now the level that we have to refer to the authorities. 2.5%. That's a pretty high number. But if you break it down, 5.9% are in Newark, 8.2% in East Orange, 7.3% in Trenton, and 6.3% in Atlantic City. So I think those inner city kids are raising it for the rest of us. To be honest with you, I get almost no lead in the suburbs. And my friends around the state say the same thing. I mean, the houses are all new. They have better paint. I think these are inner city numbers, but, we all see patients from the inner city, so it's just a good idea. And I recently got a letter from the Department of Health saying that they are personally going to hold the healthcare providers like me responsible if we don't get these kids tested. And we do get reports all the time of kids that haven't gotten their test. We do it in our office. It's a finger stick, but it can be a problem, and they really want these kids tested. Okay, let's see. USA Today said that there's lead in fruit juice cans. I didn't know that. I thought cans were aluminum. I don't know if lead's with aluminum. I didn't know. CBS said, and this is from the Journal of Clinical Toxicology, that we've mentioned this in the past. The Crampton, that herb that's in a tea, given as a powder, as a tea. It's an opioid-like herb, but it's used commonly. And now there's a clear FDA and DEA warning against it. It can increase your heart rate, give you seizures, and give you renal failure. People stay away from this Croton or Croton. I forget how to say it, but stay away from it. This is interesting. Independent News said to be careful of all those people like me watching our salt. I'm included. Be careful that cold remedies do have salt. I never really thought about it. I thought about it as a general concept, but I never realized that something like an Alka-Seltzer tab, it's just one of many examples, you have to look at all of them, has 1.2 grams of sodium in each tab. I mean, you take a couple Alka-Seltzer tabs, you've had your sodium for the day, so I just didn't think about that. But you have to look at all of them. It's not just that one. FDA has, I think we've mentioned this before, they've banned trolamine and PABA in sunscreens. These are chemicals that can cause problems. Listen to this. CBS says that Claves, Claives, if I said it right, Claves makeup has asbestos in it. So I guess if like putting your face in the wall in insulation or something, I have no idea how that happened. CBS says that that the pesticides that are on our fruit and vegetables, this came from an environmental working group, that it's not just the ones we used to say, it's our favorites like kale, spinach, strawberries. Those are the top 3. But now the ones that have the lowest amount of chemicals are avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, frozen sweet peas. But I'm a big strawberry eater. I love kale and spinach, and they're very clear to say it's better to eat healthy and don't worry about the fact there were pesticides on it. The levels are very low, and and the benefits far outweigh this little bit of pesticide. But it's something for all those people that are very careful health nuts to think about. Okay, let's see. Fox News. Yes, this was a big thing now. This was very interesting. Foods with activated charcoal. You know, activated charcoal is something I always used in the emergency room to help bind toxins and poisons when someone came in with an overdose. I never for the life of me thought somebody would be taking charcoal to get the poisons out of all the foods they're eating. I mean, just why not just eat food that's not poisoned? But they're doing it, and the author was another physician was very clear to say that this charcoal that's binding whatever poisons you're scared of eating is also binding your vitamins, minerals, medicine, nutrients. So you're not absorbing anything if you're putting charcoal. Again, it was something you should really use in the emergency room and not in your kitchen. Here's another one. This is incredible. We've gone through a lot of these over the years, and they never fail to amaze me how crazy people are. Have you ever heard of this? CNN says it's the boiling water challenge. It's incredible. People actually throw boiling water up in the air in front of them. I don't really. Obviously, they got very burned. I just don't understand it. I think what they do is they like to see it freeze in front of them. So I have no idea, but they're still doing it. This was interesting. CNN, a professor from Johns Hopkins Hospital, I guess he likes cruise ships. He went on a lot of cruise ships, and he measured all the bacteria and poisons all around the ship. And he found that if you happen to stand by the smokestack, you're more likely to get poisoned. So that's a hint for all your cruise ship people. Star Ledger, was interesting. Somebody did a article in the Ledger on night cramps. We've all had those. They're very painful. And they said stretch your legs before sleeping, especially your calf muscles. And if you do get a cramp, bend your feet up and hold your feet and release them, and that'll get rid of the cramp. It's always helpful. All right, let's end with a few fun things. I like to go to Food Network to end this. Healthy lunch ideas for children. These are fun. Berry and yogurt parfait, hummus with smoked turkey, wagon wheels with pasta salad, brown rice and bean burritos, Asian chicken with quinoa salad. That's nice. Some ideas to take home. They said let the child choose the vegetables for the wraps or the fruit for their lunchbox. So those were interesting. Now, this is another good thing. For those of you that have milk allergies, try these non-milk butters. I don't know, did you know this? I didn't know this, that, and I'm certainly going to look into this now because I can't eat milk. There is sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, sesame seeds, and watermelon seeds that actually have butters made from them. It's interesting. I'm going to look into that. How about non-milk breakfast treats? This is another interesting for people like me that can't eat milk. The acai bowls, did I say that right? A-C-A-I, acai bowls. Paleo prosciutto egg cups. Microwave apple cinnamon oatmeal. Kale tomato eggs Benedict, sounds good. Green smoothie. And paleo pumpkin waffle with coconut oil. Alternatives to milk breakfast. Let's just do a few more and we'll wrap up. Just to remind you, for all of you vegetarians, plant proteins include nuts, beans, seeds, quinoa, and soy. And plant calcium, good sources are soy, beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds, amaranth grain, teff grain, seaweed, dark leafy greens, and cruciferous such as spinach, bok choy, turnips, mustard, collard greens, okra, kale, cabbage, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. So good source of calcium. I eat a lot of broccoli. Fortified juices and foods, and black strap molasses also has a lot of calcium. All right, lastly, I thought this was kind of fun. Well, all of us like snacks and nutrition bars, and Business Insider took nutrition experts and they ranked their favorite nutrition bars. So I'm not sure how they ranked it, but this is what came out. Untopped maple waffle. These are nutrition bars. Honey Stinger organic cracker. In-N-Nut butter snack bar. Bunk Breaker PB&J. Picky bar. And Science and Sport Go Energy bar. So those are some things. Well, as always, we enjoyed spending this time with you today. We welcome your comments. If this is put on near the Easter holidays and Passover holidays, I wish warm welcomes to everybody, and we'll see you here in the future. Take care.